Hey everyone, today we're going to be seeing if future bending is possible. We all know that with time travel into the past, there are some problems, like the grandfather paradox, where if you travel back to the past to kill your grandpa, that means that you would have never been born to go back into the past to kill your grandpa. So this creates a paradox. But what about seeing into the future? Do we run into the same problems? Well, there's a new show on Prime Video called The Peripheral, and it's about a young girl named Flynn who helps support her family by playing simulated video games. And one day a company sends her another game that turns out to not be a game at all.
What is it?
Cutting edge VR, Flynn. Count back from 10.
When she puts the headset on, her consciousness is transported to an avatar body that exists 67 years in the future.
This is London, but London's 70 years from what you think of as the present.
When she takes it off, she's right back in her present time. So she can essentially be present 67 years into the future. And by making changes to the present, she can change events in the future. They call this future bending. And I'd like to thank Prime Video for sponsoring this video and giving me a chance to talk about their new show and seeing if future bending creates any paradoxes. Let's do a little experiment and see if it does. So this phone lets me FaceTime my wife one day in the future. Let's see what's happening. So how's it going in the future?
We're doing good, but I have something to warn you about. No matter how hungry you get, do not eat the fish that's in the fridge. You will regret it. You have been throwing up for the past 12 hours, so don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay, got it, no fish. Well, in this scenario, it doesn't seem like there are any problems off the bat, but it's now the next day and Joanna just got a phone call from me in the past. So how's it going in the future?
It's going pretty good. It's a pretty normal day.
She doesn't mention anything about the fish since I'm not sick, but the only reason I didn't get sick is because she told me to not eat the fish in the first place. So again, we have the same type of paradox that we had with the grandfather paradox. According to Einstein's general theory of relativity, it does allow for time travel, but only a specific type of time travel called closed time-like curves, meaning the past and the future have to be self-consistent. So if I wanted to make this whole fish-eating scenario self-consistent, it would have to go like this.
No matter how hungry you get, do not eat the fish that's in the fridge.
Who does she think she is telling me what I can and can't eat? If I want to eat the fish, I'm going to eat the fish. The only reason that I actually ate the fish in the first place is because I called Joanna and she told me not to eat the fish. And I didn't want to be told what to do, so I ate the fish. And so the reason I got sick is because she told me not to eat the fish. So she caused the event that she's trying to stop. That would be self-consistent. There have already been a few published papers that show on the quantum realm how the universe is actually self-healing, so that the future can't go back and change the past, so the future event doesn't happen. So what about future bending? This doesn't seem to help us without creating any paradoxes. But there's still a way that future bending could be possible. It would have to be that every time there's a connection made with the past, there's a new timeline that occurs. So if that phone exists that could call my wife one day in the future, then there's now an alternative timeline that exists. There's the me that ate the fish and got sick and the me that didn't. So you can essentially get information from the future to change where your current future was headed. And you can make your future different. But that doesn't erase the other future, so they both exist just on separate timelines. This view is similar to the many worlds view in quantum mechanics. So when the main character Flynn connects with the future, she can actually change the future to be different. But that would mean that she's now hypothetically on a separate timeline than the one which she's communicating with. The cool thing about this actually doesn't break any of the current laws of physics that we know of. The weird thing about talking about future bending is that we're actually trying to future bend a little bit whenever we do science. If you think about it, one of the main goals of science is to try to predict the future. For example, if I want to know where a ball is going to land when I shoot it out of a cannon, I don't have to test it and see. I can predict where it will land using Newton's equations. If I want to know how strong of a pressure vessel I need to go to the bottom of the ocean, I can just use an equation to predict that as well. But just so you don't get overly confident in science, this prediction method gets harder and harder to do the further in the future we want to predict. And also it depends on how reliable our current data and model is. because any errors that we have in our data or equations propagate with time, so that we may not actually be predicting the real future. So science is our best version of future bending that we have at this point. But if you're tired of time traveling by collecting data and doing math, then you can always just take a break and check out the Peripheral, streaming only on Prime Video October 21st. And thanks again for watching another episode of the Action Lab. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.